car ever sold at auction. The stunning 1962 250 GTO will be auctioned off at Sotheby's in Monterey, California. One of only 36 ever built, it's expected to fetch anywhere from $45 to $60 million. The current record holder for most expensive car ever auctioned off is actually another Ferrari 250 GTO. It was sold for $38 million in 2014. The 250's body was sculpted by legendary Italian designer I don't know what his name. Scaglietti, thank you. It sports a 300 V12 engine, so legendary. Anyway, we could pool our money. We could pool our money together. $60 billion. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right now on News 3, more people are being impacted by the aftermath of this week's heavy rains. Dane County lakes and rivers continue to swell as water begins filling downtown Madison.
This is News 3.
And thanks for staying with News 3. Tonight, parts of Madison are at risk of serious flooding as city officials open the Tenney locks.
This just the latest developments following the devastating historic rainfall earlier this week. We continue to have team coverage across the area. Amy Reed on the east side of Madison, Jamie Perez covering the flood damage, and Rose Schmidt keeping an eye on the rising Sugar River.
Well, let's start live with Amy monitoring the situation on Madison's east side. Amy?
Yeah, I'm on Livingston and Mifflin Streets, and this intersection is closed off and covered. We're about a block back from East Washington, and the city said if it starts to look like this out there, they're prepared to shut the whole thing down. This water is all coming from Lake Mendota, which is near 100-year levels. Earlier today, the sheriff's office opened the Tenney Dam to let some of that water through. Right now, they said that dam is holding, and there is not a serious concern that it will break since they are letting the water out. The city is staying focused on the isthmus, and not just near the Yahara River, but in these low-lying areas too, where the infrastructure was just not designed to handle this much water.
It's an unprecedented event. You cannot go by what you've seen in the past as you're deciding what to do in regards to this event.
The city has some traffic plans in place. If they do need to close East Washington, they will divert traffic to Willie Street. They said give yourself extra time to get to the east side, including the airport. Also important to note that city engineer that you just heard from said this should be taken seriously, especially since they're worried it'll only get worse tomorrow if we do see that rainfall. Back to you.
Amy Reed on the east side of Madison. Amy, thank you.
Officials are ordering the evacuation of Prairie Park Senior Apartments on Madison's west side following flooding in the building's basement. There are 96 units in the building on Schrader Road. The fire department says the decision was made with the help of the health department after a building inspection determined the conditions were uninhabitable.
Roads in downtown Madison are blocked off today as a result of the flooding. City leaders closed Johnson Street from 1st Street to Baldwin last night, which is the video you're looking at here. And Alder Liddell Zellers posted an update on her blog saying city officials are preparing to close one lane of East Wash this afternoon or evening. Zeller says traffic would then be rerouted to Willie Street if East Washington becomes completely impassable.
The UW Center for Limnology right on Lake Mendota also at risk due to the flooding. Water has seeped into the building, and the facilities and equipment manager says he had to put up an inflatable dike to try and keep out those rising lake levels. He says everything should be okay if the water doesn't go over that dike, but if it does, he says all of this summer's research samples and some archived samples could be at risk. Many residents in the Shorewood Hills community are without homes, without cars, and without personal belongings.
Garbage trucks lined Burbank Place, removing damaged property from residents' front yards this afternoon. Assessors are deeming almost that entire street unlivable now. Jamie Perez visited with residents there this afternoon, joins us now in studio with their stories. Jamie?
That's right. Well, this was definitely one of the worst streets that I've seen so far this past week. Almost every car on this street is totaled from the flood damage. Basements have collapsed and millions of dollars in property gone. Their homes also not salvageable. Take a look at some of the damage here. Every single front yard on that street was lined with trash and personal belongings that were taken away by garbage trucks this afternoon. None of the homes along that street have flood insurance, and some don't have renter's insurance. When I was there earlier, most of the residents were figuring out what to do with what they had left and where they could possibly stay.
It's a really hard feeling. It's pretty traumatic. It's hard to want to live here anymore. It's something you really have to think about. You have to decide, weigh the options of if this could happen again, the fact of what the problems could be, the cost of reinvesting, rebuilding. Those are really decisions we're going to have to weigh on our mind and decide how we want to go from here.
You can see just how much damage they're dealing with. There are sinkholes that have formed underneath homes from collapsed basements, and so much was lost in those basements. It almost seems like an impossible task at this point to get all of that removed and into a landfill. And I wish I could tell you all of the stories that I witnessed this afternoon. I mean, just absolutely devastating. And to think that that's just one street that was affected, there are so many others who are dealing with this and just trying to figure out what to do from this point on. The best message that I got from one of the residents this afternoon was that the people of that community are really supporting each other, and they're just thankful to be alive.
I've never seen anything like it in Madison. Your heart just goes out to them. Jamie Perez reporting tonight in studio. Jamie, thank you. A multi-agency resource center will be open tomorrow and Saturday to help residents affected by the flooding. It'll be open at Mazomanie Elementary School on Ann Street. That's from 1 to 7 tomorrow. Saturday at Blackhawk Church on Brader Way in Middleton. That's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The 3 Red Cross shelters in Cross Plains, Mazomanie, and Madison West High School will remain open tonight.
Governor Walker visited one of those Red Cross shelters in Mazomanie this morning. He declared a state of emergency for Dane County earlier this week. He says the people impacted by the flooding will get help from the county and state, but it's still unclear if the federal government will help, saying the threshold for FEMA assistance is high.
We'll be collecting the information for people who have personal damage in their homes or personally. The 211 number is important for people to call, not only to record whatever damage there might be and to document that, but also in terms of additional aid or assistance.
All right, so unfortunately, what a lot of folks are planning for is more rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joins us in the Weather Center with the latest, Dave.
Eric, our models have been spitting out data over the past couple of hours, and confidence is increasing for up to 1 to 2 additional inches of rainfall by the time we get to Saturday. Doppler track not showing anything right now. It's pretty quiet. I wish it would stay that way, but our next low pressure system you could see off to the north and west, affecting the Dakotas into Montana and Wyoming. That will track to the south and east later tonight and start affecting us as early as tomorrow morning. Live look in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam showing those blue skies. Hold on to them as long as possible. Temperatures are in the mid-70s, south wind at 10 miles per hour, 77 in Lone Rock, 79 in Boscobel, and 79 in Janesville. Dew points are in the mid-50s, so not humid, which could help us out tomorrow. But I do expect a kind of surge of humidity as that low pressure system gets closer. Wind speeds out of the south right now at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So this evening we'll see increasing clouds, still mild with temperatures falling through the 70s into the upper 60s. When I come back in just a few minutes, we will talk more about the rain on the way for tomorrow and what could be a rainy next week as well. It's all in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you. The Sugar River continues to rise rapidly, now flooding areas in Greene County.
The water that started in Black Earth and Mazomanie is all coming down the Sugar River watershed today. It impacted Decatur Lake in Broadhead. Rose Schmidt spent the day there and joins us in the news center to tell us how people there are preparing. Rose?
That's right. People who live by Decatur Lake near Broadhead tell me they're hoping the water doesn't spread to their houses, but they do know that it's a possibility. State and county officials were at Pearl Island Corridor in Broadhead today using a drone from the Greene County Sheriff's Office to monitor the levels over that lake. The lake now rising higher and higher as water is flowing downstream from the Sugar River. There's water over a bike trail on the corridor, and Decatur Road is closed because of standing water. It's an area emergency management is watching very closely.
Our major concern is people getting near or into the water. It's going at a very, very fast rate. You're putting your life into immediate danger.
Flooding from the Sugar River led several families in Belleville to evacuate this week. Luckily, they're back home. And at one point yesterday, the Sugar River rose a foot every hour in Albany. Now, if you live in Greene County and need sandbags, you can call the county highway department. Right now, they only have empty bags, meaning you'll have to get your own sand. Greene County Emergency Management wants to remind everyone not to drive around barricades. And in fact, you could face a $175 fine there if you do that.
All right, Rose Schmidt reporting. Thank you, Rose.
Well, there are a lot of people trying to get their cars fixed after all this rain this week. Hundreds of vehicles were abandoned on highways and streets around the area. Auto technicians at Westtown Monona Tire turned away more than 3 dozen cars this week because they're simply backlogged with all these water damage repairs. One of their mechanics said the advanced technology in modern vehicles is making the problem more difficult.
There's so many more computers in a car nowadays, and a lot of them are internal, like inside the cabin of a vehicle. And a lot of these vehicles got water in them, you know, filled up with water. So you wouldn't pour a glass of water on your laptop at home on the counter, right? I mean, it's over then. So the same thing with vehicles.
Ted Manning says even if your car seems fine, if you drove it through those floodwaters, it may have battery, brake, or other internal damage that you can't see until it potentially breaks down in the future.
News 3 will continue to spend time in the communities affected by this week's flood. We will have an update on conditions in Madison and the surrounding areas tonight at 6 and 10, and as always on channel3000.com. In other news today, accused UW football player Quintez Cephas was in court today.
He's facing multiple charges of sexual assault. Our Keely Arthur shares why his defense team says he is innocent. Keely?
That's right. The wide receiver is facing 2 charges, one for second-degree sexual assault, another for third-degree sexual assault. The alleged victims, 2 women, told police they were intoxicated one night in April when Cephas assaulted them. Now the defense is trying to get that second-degree sexual assault charge thrown out.
Quintez is innocent.
Quintez Cephas' defense team saying they have evidence to back that up.
There were 3 people in that bedroom that night, and all 3 of them know the truth. And we want all the facts to come out to establish the truth.
Today, Cephas' defense filed a motion to preserve evidence which they believe could prove the suspended UW football player's innocence. That was granted. They filed another motion to dismiss the second-degree sexual assault charge altogether because they say they can prove the woman was not intoxicated past the point of being able to consent. One way they plan to do that? Text messages, including one conversation in which the alleged victim in that charge texts Cephas at 3:14 a.m. after the alleged assault, asking if she left her jewel, a vape instrument, behind, followed by a heart and kiss emoji, which the defense says signified positive feelings towards Cephas. The court has yet to grant that motion. If convicted of both charges, Cephas could spend up to 50 years in prison for crimes those who came to support him in court today say he's incapable of committing.
He's a part of our family. He's a son to me. He's a brother to the 3 daughters that me and my wife have. And he's a great young man, and I can't wait for all the facts to come out so that he can be exonerated.
Now, Cephas is not allowed to have contact with either alleged victim. Another football player, Danny Davis, who was allegedly present at the time, is not currently facing criminal charges, but is suspended from 2 football games.
All right, a story we'll continue to follow. Keely Arthur joining us. Keely, thank you.
Thanks, Keely. Still ahead tonight at 5, a special Facebook Live event going on right now to get your back-to-school questions answered.
And Hurricane Lane now creeping closer to Hawaii. We'll have an update and our own forecast when we return.
And a look at the day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones loses 77, the NASDAQ closing down almost 11, while the S&P gave back 5 points. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We know the transition from summer to school can be a rough one for both students and parents.
And we're hosting a Facebook Live event right now offering free advice for families on stress, anxiety, and any other mental health concerns before classes start up once again. Danica Lewis moderating that discussion with a couple of experts from SSM Health. Danica?
Well, hi, Eric and Amanda. Good afternoon. It's good to be here. So we got a great response from the last one of these we did back in the spring. So we wanted to make sure to offer this service again. It's a free Q&A on Facebook Live right now. We have about a couple dozen people coming in and out of the Facebook Live event to just ask their questions, give their comments, and it's been great so far. I am here with child psychologist Dr. Kathleen Hipke and a therapist named Britt Kuhlman. And thank you, ladies. I know it's a very busy time of year for everyone, including you. Britt, one of the comments you made even before we started today that I thought was really relevant is the fact that we are seeing all these images about flooding. I know it's been heavy on our minds here in the newsroom, heavy on a lot of your minds out there. And this is just another unknown for kids heading into the school year and potentially another stressor. How should we be maybe thinking about this in a different way as another layer added for our kids?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure parents have this awareness in their mind right now as well, because it's real. We're living it. We're going through it. So it's on our mind, and we're thinking about how is it affecting our kids. And really, as we talk about with a lot of different things, the best thing for us to do is just build that curiosity and ask questions about how our kid is doing with what's happening and what they're seeing. What do you take about what's going on, and what are your reactions?
Right, and separating those reactions, I'm sure, is very important too.
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys being here. We are still on Facebook Live right now, so I know they're getting an interesting behind-the-scenes look. I was talking to our producer, Chris, and our head over the Facebook Live right now. Please join us on there. It's over at the Channel 3000 Facebook page. You can ask your questions live to these two. We can do it anonymously if you don't want to give your name, but really, we are just here to help. This is free advice, which is hard to come by. These are professionals that know their stuff about mental health. And again, it's important to take time to talk about these issues heading into the school year. We will be live on Facebook until 6 o'clock tonight, but for now, I will send back to you guys in the studio, Eric and Amanda.
All right, Danica, thank you very much. It's an important time of the year as school gets ready to start again. Another big issue right now we're keeping an eye on is the weather and the potential for rain tomorrow. Dave Caulfield on the backyard patio, which is sunny and dry for now, Dave.
Yeah, I wish we could really bottle this up and just hang on to it into the weekend, Eric and Amanda, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. An alert day in the forecast for tomorrow for showers and thunderstorms. Heavy rain as possible, anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of additional rainfall possible into early Saturday for southern Wisconsin. And we almost don't even have time to talk about the threat of maybe some severe weather tomorrow as well. Some of those storms could be strong to severe, so lots to look out for as we head into Friday. Mild weather over us right now with high pressure kind of ruling our region, but then we could see that low pressure system off to the north and west. That will move in by the time we get to early tomorrow morning. And this goes without saying, but we really just don't need any more rain. Already up to about 8.5 inches of rain, and that's just at the airport. We know other areas have received almost double that this August, and most of that coming on Monday into Tuesday. We could add to those totals over the next couple of days. Here is our next low pressure system. You can see causing some severe weather closer to Rapid City, South Dakota, but you can see the spin of those showers and thunderstorms. That continues to move to the south and east and will affect us into early Friday morning with some showers and thunderstorms. As I mentioned, the severe weather outlook, marginal risk for Madison and for the southwestern tip of the state, a slight risk. So some of those storms could be strong to severe. Some damaging winds and small hail could be encapsulated in that as well. The National Weather Service just put out an aerial flood warning for the isthmus into tomorrow afternoon, and this is for the threat of the rain coming and also the water being pumped out of the lakes through the dam so that dam doesn't break or overflow. So that is something to keep in mind. Lots of issues over the next 24 to 48 hours could be caused by the rain and also the water that we already have. Downtown Madison, speaking of the Isthmus, on the Edgewater Skycam, looking pretty good right now. The almanac for today, 76 degrees the high, so that's a little bit below normal. We'll be well below normal as we head into tomorrow with all the clouds and rain around. Temperatures right now in Lone Rock at 77, Mineral Point 77 and 79 in Boscobel. It is not humid at all. It actually feels very nice outside, but I do think humidity will spike into tomorrow as that low pressure system gets closer. Tonight, increasing clouds with scattered showers and storms arriving very late. Lows will be in the lower 60s. Then for tomorrow, mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms. Highs will be in the lower 70s. So let's take a look at this on Future Track. We'll see increasing clouds tonight. Then Future Track bringing in multiple rounds of rain on Friday, and that could last even into early on Saturday. The downpour potential is definitely there as that low pressure system moves through. Our precipitation potential, hopefully those numbers will show up pretty quickly, but anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of rain, even locally heavier amounts, are possible into early on Saturday. I hope we get the low end of those rain totals. I'm really crossing my fingers very hard out here on the weather patio, but it just doesn't look all that likely that we're going to miss this round of rain. So your 7-day forecast showing that alert day in the forecast for Friday, rain wrapping up early Saturday. Unfortunately, folks, that is the only dry day in that 10-day forecast is Saturday. Then on Sunday, chances for showers and storms return, and our early model outlook's not looking good into next week. Hopefully that changes when it comes to rainfall totals, but just want to make you aware of that. Here's East Wash and Blair Street on our Wisconsin Department of Transportation traffic camera, so you can see a little bit of slow go. Keep in mind, lots of roads closed due to flooding, and those roads could go up, at least in number, as we head into the next couple of days. Maybe an accident still close to John Nolan Drive and the Beltline, but we are seeing those hefty delays on the Beltline as you might expect for this time of day. 20 minutes from Verona Road to John Nolan eastbound, average speed of only about 15 miles per hour. Then the other routes westbound, that same stretch is still a little bit slow at 9 minutes, average speed of around 30 miles per hour. So flooded roads looking likely over the next couple of days. Remember, turn around, don't drown. You don't know what is in that water. The road may be washed away. It's important advice to keep in mind. Even if your area doesn't see a lot of rain, which would be a good thing, you definitely want to just be aware of the flooding situation in other areas if you're traveling over the next couple of days.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Dave.
Still to come tonight, a powerful hurricane barreling toward Hawaii. How residents and first responders are preparing. That's next at 5. Welcome back. A Category 4 hurricane is barreling toward Hawaii.
Torrential rain is already hitting parts of the island chain. Chris Martinez has the latest from Los Angeles.
Heavy rain is flooding roadways on Hawaii's Big Island as Hurricane Lane closes in.
Right now, this system is really setting up to be a significant rain event, torrential rains. Forecasters are predicting over 30 inches in some parts.
It's nasty, it's scary.
This woman captured the rushing waters, and it's only getting worse.
Batten down the hatches, the event has just started.
The slow-moving system is expected to bring catastrophic flooding, huge waves, and powerful winds to Hawaii.
We urge the people that are in Hawaii right now to heed all the warnings, stay off the beach right now, stay out of the water.
Satellite images taken from space show the massive storm churning in the Pacific Ocean.
I think it's going to be bad to an effect that us locals never experienced before.
Residents stocked up on supplies, clearing out grocery stores ahead of the storm.
This is not just going to be over in the next 24 hours. This system is going to be with us for the next 4 or 5 days.
President Trump issued a disaster declaration to provide support for Hawaii and tweeted, "Our teams are closely coordinating with the state and local authorities. You are in our thoughts." If the storm makes landfall, it would be the first to do so in 26 years. Chris Martinez, CBS News.
It has been a summer of destruction on Hawaii's Big Island, where the Kilauea volcano destroyed more than 700 homes since May.
Now, another check of our weather when we return. Stay with us. Let's go to Dave. Final check.
Yeah, we got some more rain on the way for tomorrow. Nothing right now, but we'll notice those showers build in by early tomorrow morning. By the time we get to Saturday, about 1 inch to 2 more inches of rain possible for southern Wisconsin. The last thing we need. Your day planner for tomorrow showing showers and thunderstorms possible throughout much of the day. Some of those storms could be a little bit on the strong to severe side. Highs will be in the low 70s, in the 80s, and mostly dry on Saturday. After that, though, lots more rain chances into the start of next week.
All right, Dave, thank you. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back in 30 minutes with more updates on News 3 at 6. The CBS Evening News is next.